Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. This is going to be primarily the palettes, the eyeshadow palettes that I've decluttered. There's a couple face palettes in here, foundation, and I'll show you those bits too, but this is mainly eyeshadow. I was going to film the whole process of what I decluttered, but I went through my palettes last night after the baby went to bed, so it was dark, and then I had her in the bedroom and I went through and did another little round, and then I pulled out some stuff that I had decluttered before, put it in here so I could show you, and it was going to be too challenging to figure out how to film with the baby, so I figured I would just pull everything out. This is the bucket, and I'm going to leave it in this bucket until I see some of my friends, and then they can go through it, but I'm going to show you everything that I decluttered. So if that sounds interesting, stick around. A couple of these things I might have shown before, I can't remember, so I'll just show them again, but the bits that I had decluttered earlier. So yeah, we're just going to get into it. Now, none of these palettes that are in here are bad. It's all stuff that I liked for the most part. I just have too many eyeshadow palettes, and it's getting to a point where it's overwhelming. And I end up using the same palettes over and over. So I needed to cut it down. I don't know how many are in here. I'll try and count them. I don't know how many I have either. I didn't count them either. So I know I'm probably still at 150, but it was getting closer to 200. There was just piles everywhere, and it was just too much. So these are not going to be in any order. I'm just going to start pulling them out of the container. So the first one is the Ciate London one. This came in a BoxyCharm palette. I have used this, and I did like it. It's mostly shimmers. There's like 1, 2, 3. I think there's 4 mattes in here is all. This is the New England palette. Like I said, it is pretty, but it's not one that I feel like I need to keep. Like, I liked it, but I didn't necessarily like it enough to warrant keeping it. And the lighting's going to be probably bad. Let me see if I turned on my light behind me, so we'll see if that helps. You can see a little better on the inside. It's not so washed out, but yeah, I liked this, but I didn't necessarily, like, there's nothing in here that I don't necessarily have in other palettes, so we're gonna move that on. I have 2 Alter Ego. I kept the, I think it's the one that's the dupe for the, like gold palette. I kept that one. So I have Blooms. This is a dupe for the Natasha Denona Love palette. I just don't use this. I used it once, and it's not something where I open it and like, oh, I want to use that. And I actually have like a similar color story in a couple other palettes I discovered. So this is not one that I'm like chomping to use ever. And the same thing with the Aurora, which is a dupe for the Sunset palette. Like, it's fine, but it's not one that I'm like, oh, I want to use that, because I'm not doing my makeup as often. So I'm going to pass it on. So hopefully somebody else can use it. This is from Poppy Cosmetics. I think this came, oh, it wasn't in BoxyCharm. It was the one that I would get every other month. I can't think of the name of the subscription box at the moment. It wasn't Ipsy. It's a neon palette, and it's pretty. Like, the neon shades are fine. Some of them, like the green and the yellow, don't work as well as I'd like them to. And I have neon colors in other palettes that I like. So again, this isn't one that I need to keep, because I end up, when I have used it, I've had to pull in one of my other palettes. So I'm going to pass that on, and hopefully somebody else can use it. Whoops. The baby's over here playing. Here. And you're chewy. Okay, and then I actually have 4 Juvia's Place palettes, which I've been hoarding, my Juvia's Place palettes. I bought this off of Poshmark, and I've never used it, and I don't know that I'm going to use it. This is the Magic Mini palette, so I think this is one that the person used it like twice. So it's practically brand new, so I'm going to try and pass it on so that somebody else can use it. And the Saharan palette, again, is one I got on Poshmark. I've used it twice. And it's a weird color story, so probably not going to use it. I'm trying to pass these on before they like go bad. The Nubian 3 Coral, I bought it brand new. I've used it once. It's just not a color story that I'm drawn to. It doesn't make me excited to use it when I look at it. And then I'm finally going to get rid of my Masquerade Mini. I've had this palette forever. It's old. I'm going to see if one of my friends wants it. I haven't used it in like 3 or 4 years. I keep it for like sentimental reasons, not because I'm like chomping to use it. If I want warm shades, this is not the palette that I use. And again, if I want rainbow colors, this is not, I don't reach for it. So I need to pass it on and see if somebody else can get some use out of it. I have the Sunrise palette. This is the Sunrise Impressionism from Folklore. I have these colors in a Ciate London palette, so I don't necessarily need to keep this. I've only used it once. It's a dupe for the Huda Nude palette. It's good, but because I have, again, these colors in other palettes, I've only used it once, so might as well pass it on. And I did end up decluttering one of my ABH palettes. I decided to declutter Subculture. I got this on Poshmark. I had to repress Fudge, which is the dark brown, but I've never used it. I bought it like 2 years ago, and I've never been compelled to reach for this. Again, I have these shades in other palettes that I actually feel the need to reach for. I've never been compelled to use this one, so I'm going to pass that on. I'm keeping all my other ABH palettes, eyeshadow palettes, but that one, I might as well pass it on. This one is brand new. This is from Glamlight. I'm actually only keeping one Glamlight palette. I was going to declutter my Street Taco palette, and I actually like the color story of that. It's got some neon greens and some orange and purple. This is the Meat Lovers pizza palette. It's pinky shades. I've never used it. My friend Wendy sent this to me. It's brand new. I've had it for, again, 2 years. I've never used it. If I want pinks or even like purpley shades, this isn't the palette that I reach for. So I might as well pass it on. And like I said, I've used my Street Taco palette, and I do like that color story. So that's the only Glamlight palette that I've ended up keeping. I had I want to say it was like the Caliente palette or something. It was like a rainbowy palette. My daughter has that, and then she has the pizza palette, like the full-size pizza palette. Next, from Colored Rain, this is the Queen of Hearts. I think I got a bad one. I got this on sale. They were doing like 40% off. The shades that I really like in here, like the purpley ones, I don't know if you're gonna be able to see it that well. Like this shade is really dry in mine. It's not creamy. So I think I just got an old one that, that's why they had palettes on sale. The shimmers are pretty, but again, I have these colors. And I have other shimmers that are nice, so I'm just going to declutter it because that one shade is really what attracts me to the palette, and it's super dry. I had a problem with that shade in my Pumpkin Spice palette from Too Faced, but I like the rest of that palette enough. Like this doesn't make, for some reason, it doesn't make me want to use it. The color story doesn't like scream to me. I'll save the face stuff for the end here because there's only, I think, four things, so we'll save that. Next, we have a Nomad palette. I have another one that I think I might declutter. It's like a little bluey one. This one, a subscriber, Brenda, sent this to me, and I just haven't used it. I think she sent me that package like 2 years ago again. This is the Marrakesh. Like, there's nothing wrong with it. I'm just not, it's not one that I'm like, oh, I want to use it. And I wanted to use it when I first got it, and as time's progressed, I just haven't reached for it. So it's still brand new. Figured somebody else could like it. I'm keeping my Japanese Harajuku Nomad palette, the pastel-y one. I'm keeping that one, and then I have my little, I couldn't find it. There's a little like bluey one, unless I got rid of it. I didn't come across it in my drawer, but I still have that one if I didn't get rid of it. I bought this palette twice. I got it in a box. We Charm decluttered it. Bought it again thinking I would use it, and I haven't used it since I bought it. It's been over a year. It's just a neutral, the Manny MUA and Morphe palette, and you get 2 highlighters. Nothing wrong with it because I used my other one once. But I was thinking, oh, this would be a good everyday palette. But again, I have other palettes that when I want just a basic neutral look, I reach for. So I have not used that like in the year or so that I repurchased it. So that's going to go. Again, this is one that I got on Poshmark. The Life's a Drag. It's brand new. I've never used it. Again, I've had it for 2 years. And I do have palettes, so it's not necessarily that I haven't used it. Because I have several palettes that I've had for probably 2 years that I decided to keep. But this one, I don't think realistically that it's one I'm going to use. So I'd rather pass it on while it's still new and worth passing. And then I did end up getting rid of 3 of my mini Lime Crime palettes. I'm keeping whatever the cool tone, like the Immortalis, I think. The gray one. I decided to keep that one, but I'm getting rid of 1. I got these in a bundle on Poshmark, and I have used them. I just don't reach for them anymore. Again, I have those shades in other palettes. 2 is grungy, and I have these exact shades in an Ace Beauté palette that I'm keeping, and then 3 is like pinks and purples. And again, I have pinks and purples in other palettes, so I'm going to pass those on. So I decided to keep the gray one. My Fenty Beauty Moroccan Spice, I just don't reach for it. It's pretty. It's a very subtle palette, but don't reach for it anymore. Decided to let that go. I decided to get rid of my smoked palette from Urban Decay. Again, there's nothing wrong with this. My friend Lauren gave this to me. This is old. I have used it, but it's not one that I'm like reaching for anymore. So I figured I'd let it go. It's difficult to store and it's taking up space. Finally gonna let my Morphe and Kathleen Lights go. Again, I haven't reached for it in 2 years. Keep it because, you know, it was one of my earlier palettes when I was rebuilding my collection, and I used it a lot when I first got it, but it's old. I'm gonna finally get rid of my Tarte Make Believe in Yourself. I kept the Sizzle and the Mauve one, the Fairy Fancy Lights and Fairy Dust or whatever that one's called. This one, I was going to keep it for like 1 shadow looks, and I'm just not using it. This may be one that I decide to pull back in because everything in here is going to sit in this container for a few weeks before I get rid of it. But this one I have not reached for it in years. So I'm thinking I'm going to let it go finally. But if I do end up saving anything out of this box, that was probably going to be the only one. We have Beverly Hills 90210. This is from Solo Look. This is a 9-pan. There's 3 mattes, like 3 shimmers and 3 metallics. And I used it once for a video, and it's got some reddy purpley shades. Like, there's nothing wrong with the formula. I just don't reach for it. It's not worth keeping just for the packaging. What's the tea? This is another one that I've used once or twice. It's from The Balm, and it's really pretty, but I think I just have so much, and you get 2 little like eye primers. And I've been keeping it for these like shimmery shades because they're gorgeous, and there's like a duochrome in here, but I have this duochrome shade in other palettes. So I'm going to pass it on while it's still in good shape. Somebody else. This is the What's the Tea, if I didn't say that. Again, I really like that palette. I haven't reached for it in 2 years. I don't think I'm going to. Finally going to get rid of my Natural Eyes. This is one of my favorite neutral palettes, but I, again, haven't reached for it in 2 years. It's bulky. It's survived many a declutter. I think I'm finally going to let that one go. I'm going to get rid of my Too Faced Sugar Cookie. This one I think I might throw away. It's starting to, some of the, I'll let my friend look at it. It's starting to get a little like weird looking, and I have not reached for it in a year, so that one's gonna go. And I got the 2 new Christmas ones, and then I have the buttered rum from 2 years ago. So I got those 3. I'm gonna get rid of my Lorac 4. I really like this kind of mauve. It's really good formula. Again, I'm not reaching for it. I had the 2 palette too. I gave that to my oldest daughter. I'm finally gonna declutter my Sweet Peach palette. The other chocolate bar palettes, I still have my original chocolate bar, white chocolate, gingerbread spice, pumpkin spice, and then I have cinnamon roll. I like using all of those. Cinnamon roll is brand new. I haven't used that one yet, but the other ones I enjoy using. This one I haven't used in like 3 years. So it's time to let it go. It's old. It still smells fine. I mean, and it's again, I'll let my friends look at it, and if somebody wants it, they can take it. And then lastly, out of the palettes, I'm going to get rid of my 2 sugar pill capsules. I'm going to keep my fun size. I, again, haven't reached for these in like 2 years. I'm just not compelled to. I have other like colorful rainbowy palettes that I'm drawn to more, and these are such a pain to store. So I'm going to let them go. So that's all the palettes. Yeah, and then for face products, I'm going to get rid of my Jeffree Star Liquid Frost in Frostbite. It's like chunky glitter, and I can't make this look good on me. This, I think this shade will work for my friend Michaela. This is the ABH foundation in 250C. I got, I think the shade 150 or something. It's definitely way lighter, so it'll be a better match. This one's too dark, so I think this shade will work for my friend Michaela. And then I'm going to get rid of my Moonchild Glow Kit. I do wear colorful highlights, but I like my KVD was Alchemy palette better than this. Like the shades pop more, so more pigmented highlights. So I generally reach for that over this. I haven't used this one in a very long time. And then my Cab Contour Kit is brand new. It came in a, yeah, I will let you say hello in just a minute. I think this came in a Luxe. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just gigantic and I don't need it. So it's, you know, it's a brand new contour palette that somebody can get some use out of other than me. It's ginormous. And I have a good amount of bronzers and contours. I just got a bronzer palette in my last BoxyCharm. So pass this on. Yeah, do you want to say hello? So that's everything. And I'll show you Miss Emma. She's a big girl now. She's standing up. She can crawl. She can stand up. You want to say hello, Miss Baby Bean? There she is. She's been standing there this whole time. Let's see. I can pull myself up. I think in the next month or so, she's going to be walking. She will be 8 months on the 2nd, if anybody's curious. But yeah, there's... Yeah, that's you. Can you say hi, Miss Baby Bean? Yeah. Okay, I'm going to go feed her lunch, but that is everything that I decluttered. Thank you guys so much for watching. Emma says, see you later, and we will see you in another video, hopefully very, very soon. Bye, everybody.